The clash between Yung Joc, Rasheeda, and Menz has hit its peak, and what follows is jaw-dropping. Just when it felt like things couldn't spiral further, Joc made a claim that shook their bond to its core. He alleged Rasheeda is pregnant, and not by her husband, but by Mendeecees. Fans are stunned, and it may become the biggest scandal in reality TV. The night began like any other. Laughter, dim lights, lighthearted talk. But the moment shattered everything. Now the police are involved, and Jay could lose everything. What started as an argument has exploded into full-blown chaos. Rasheeda, graceful as ever, sensed a shift the moment she saw Joc. His eyes said it all. Something was coming. Then, without warning, he stepped forward. "Do you think I'm blind?" He snapped, his voice sharp with rage. The room froze. Rasheeda, trying to stay calm, asked, "What are you talking about?" "I know the truth," he said coldly. She stood stunned, eyes flicking around, trying to hold herself together. This time, Rasheeda wasn't blindsided, but Joc didn't hold back. He pointed straight at her, voice sharper than before. Her heart pounded. How could he say that? She wanted to laugh it off, deny it, defend herself, anything. But Joc pressed on. "You think I'm stupid? You and Mendy? You think I can't see it? You're carrying his child, aren't you?" The room froze. The silence was heavy, eyes locked on them. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, her voice tight but calm. "This is insane. You've lost it." But Joc wasn't done. "You're pregnant, Rasheeda. The games are over. You and Menz, sneaking around like it's a secret. You think the world doesn't see it? Everyone could see it." Rasheeda's breath caught as Joc's accusations cut deep, slicing through everything she'd built. The room spun, faces blurred, and for a moment, her thoughts scattered. She'd been with Kirk for years, ups and downs, yes, but never imagined crossing a line with Mendeecees. Still, Joc's words echoed, sharp and relentless. "Don't play dumb." "I know what I saw! This is insane!" she finally burst out, voice shaking with anger. "How dare you accuse me without proof? Throw my life away because of your jealousy." She tried to explain, to say it was all a misunderstanding. But before she could finish, something inside her broke. Joc's eyes darkened. "Jealous? No. This is about truth. You've been lying, hiding behind your fame. It ends now." Her hands trembled, fear and fury battling within. Years of fame, family, reputation, now crumbling under false claims. "You're wrong," she whispered, but Joc's anger was unstoppable. His jaw clenched tight, his face a storm. "I'm not wrong. The world will see what you're hiding. And when they do, don't come crying to me." For a moment, her world shattered, betrayed by someone she trusted, someone who should have stood by her. Frozen, her mind raced. The heavy silence was pierced by whispers spreading like wildfire. Rasheeda turned to her closest friends, her voice trembling. I can't believe he'd say that. But before anyone could respond, Joc stormed out, leaving shock and silence behind. The next hours passed in a blur. Rasheeda tried calling Mendeecees, but he didn't answer. Kirk was unreachable too. She felt abandoned, swallowed by a sea of quiet. "How could he accuse me like that?" she whispered. Everyone around her was still stunned, struggling to make sense of the chaos. They knew Joc could be impulsive, but was this different? Rasheeda knew deep down that Joc's words threatened to ruin everything she'd built, but she hadn't realized this was only the start. The fallout would ripple through her life in ways she couldn't yet grasp. Soon, the whole world would hear the truth. Left alone in silence, she struggled to process the shock, anger, and pain consuming her. Her world felt like it was crumbling, and there was nothing she could do. She tried calling Mendeecees again, straight to voicemail. The unanswered calls only deepened her dread. What did he believe? Did he buy Joc's accusations? The weight of disbelief pressed harder. It wasn't just the betrayal claim. It was the betrayal by someone she trusted. Hours passed as she paced, staring out the window at a world that moved on without her. How could Joc do this? They had shared late-night talks, laughter. How could he turn so cold? Her mind raced, trying to piece together what had gone wrong. Everything had seemed fine. They'd always been close. But now, everything was shattered. Her hardest blow was not knowing where her husband stood. He hadn't called since that night, vanished into silence. Was he listening to rumors? Did he believe Joc? Trying to calm the storm inside, her phone buzzed. Her heart leapt. It was a message from an unknown number. Hope flickered. It was Mendeecees. But horror struck. It wasn't him. A blurry video from that night played, a clip capturing the argument with Joc already going viral. Though low quality and short, the anger and harsh words were clear. The video ended before Joc's final words, but the damage was done. The world now had a front row seat to the most humiliating moment of her life. Her private struggles were out in the open, no longer hers to control. She sank onto the couch, hands trembling as she replayed the video. How could they betray her like this? She knew the media thrived on scandal, but this was different. This was her life, her family, her dignity, shattered for all to see. The video had gone viral and the comments flooded in, some supportive but most harsh and judgmental. Accusations flew. She's lying, hiding something, guilty. Every word hit like a blow, the pain almost unbearable. But this was just the start. Hours passed, and Rasheeda couldn't escape the endless stream of notifications. Her phone buzzed nonstop, a cruel reminder that her life was no longer her own. Guilt crept in like a shadow, even though the claims were false. They were chipping away at her sense of self. Did Mendeecees do something to fuel Joc's beliefs? The questions spiraled, answers nowhere to be found. Feeling lost and heavy-hearted, Rasheeda grabbed her purse and drove to the one place she hoped would bring clarity, Mendy's house. As she drove, memories of the past days haunted her. Why had Joc done this? Was it just anger or something deeper? At Mendeecees' door, she took a steadying breath and knocked, unsure what awaited, but knowing she couldn't face this alone. When he opened, his face mirrored her confusion and pain. His voice was quiet. "I don't know how to reach you. I need answers." Mendy stepped aside, sadness in his eyes. "I've seen the video. I don't know what to say." Rasheeda's heart sank. His words proved how fast things had spiraled out of control. But then she asked, "Did you say anything to him that might have made him think this way? I don't understand why he's saying these things." "I don't know what his game is," Mendeecees said, shaking his head. For a moment, Rasheeda was speechless, her thoughts swirling. But something in his words brought a small comfort. "So, what now? How do we fix this? How do I stop it?" She whispered. Mendy stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. "We start by making sure the truth comes out. We can't let these lies keep spreading." Even as he spoke, Rasheeda knew the truth might not be enough. Once a scandal like this spreads, it's almost impossible to undo the damage. All she could do was brace herself and try to steer through the storm, to protect herself and her family from falling apart. She knew this was only the beginning. The real battle had just begun. The days that followed felt like a waking nightmare. Wherever she went, people's judgmental stares pierced her, and even her closest friends seemed distant, unsure what to believe. The most painful part was Kirk's silence. He hadn't reached out, and she was left wondering where their relationship stood. The accusations hadn't faded. Every time she checked her phone, the scandal was waiting. The video, the comments, the whispers. After everything, she felt utterly alone. The silence was louder than any accusation Joc could have made. If he thought that was the end of what they had, he was wrong. Rasheeda decided she couldn't sit in the dark any longer. She needed answers. She needed to know if their marriage could survive this storm. Driving to their house, the weight on. Her chest grew heavier. She parked, staring at the home that once felt safe but now turned her stomach. Taking a deep breath, she rang the doorbell. Kirk opened the door, his face tired and distant, something she couldn't quite place. "Rasheeda," he said softly, voice far away, "we need to talk." She nodded, and they sat in silence in the living room, the tension thick between them. "I don't even know where to begin," Rasheeda said, voice breaking. "Why haven't you called me? Why haven't you been here?" Kirk shifted uncomfortably, avoiding her eyes. "I've been trying to figure things out. Joc's accusations. I didn't know what to believe." Her heart sank. "So you're doubting me after everything we've been through?" He hesitated. "I couldn't help but wonder if there was some truth to what Joc said." The words hit her like a slap. Her face hardened. "I'm not accusing you of anything." "Rasheeda, this whole situation is a mess," Kirk said, his voice sharp with frustration. "I need time to think." "You need time to think about whether you trust me," Rasheeda replied, her chest tightening as she fought back tears. This wasn't how it was meant to be. They were supposed to face everything together. They were supposed to be a team, but now it felt like an unbridgeable divide lay between them. Kirk didn't respond immediately. Instead, he rubbed his face, searching for the right words. "It's not that simple. So much is happening. I can't keep pretending everything's fine when it feels like it's falling apart." "I didn't do what he said," Rasheeda whispered, rising suddenly as raw emotions spilled out. "You want the truth? I've been faithful. I've never looked at Mendy that way. I would never hurt you." Kirk's eyes softened, but the doubt lingered. "I never wanted this to happen," he said, voice strained. "I never wanted to doubt you." But Rasheeda turned away. "Joc's ruined everything. He's torn us apart. And here you are, questioning me instead of standing by my side." The words hit hard, and silence hung thick between them, filled with everything left unsaid. "This isn't just about the accusations," Rasheeda admitted quietly. "It's about cracks in us I didn't want to face. I don't know if we can fix this. I don't know if I can keep living with the doubt." Kirk stayed silent for a long moment, the tension almost unbearable. "I don't want to lose you," he finally said. "But I don't know how to move forward." The weight of it all broke through Rasheeda's defenses, and tears flowed freely. "I don't know how either, but I can't do this alone." Kirk stood and placed a hand on her shoulder. No words were needed. This silence was different. Not doubt, but something fragile, yet real. Some people hold on even when everything seems to be falling apart. As Rasheeda wiped her tears away, she realized this conversation wasn't the end of their story. It was a turning point. The path ahead would be tough and full of challenges, but she wasn't ready to give up. She took a deep breath and met Kirk's eyes. "We'll figure this out, together," she said, her voice steady and stronger. Kirk nodded, though uncertainty still flickered in his gaze. Neither knew what the future held, but for now they would cling to what remained. As Rasheeda left the house, the world outside rushed on, but inside her, the cycle of confusion and turmoil spun endlessly. Yung Joc's accusations hadn't just shaken Rasheeda's relationships with Kirk and Mendeecees, they had ripped apart the foundation of her entire life. The public's relentless scrutiny felt suffocating, whispers chasing her everywhere she went. Her mind spun with unanswered questions, but one thing was certain. She refused to let this destroy all she had built. Wherever she turned, social media, tabloids, even at the grocery store, people whispered, questioned, and judged. The question that haunted her every night was simple but cruel. How did this happen? Her phone never stopped ringing since that night. Some messages offered support from friends and fans who believed in her. Others were cold, accusing her of lies and betrayal. One message stood out, the cruel words from Yung Joc himself. "I hope you're ready for the fallout, Rasheeda. This is only the beginning." The coldness of those words sent a shiver through her. How could someone she once called a friend turn on her so mercilessly? Joc had been part of her world, and now he was trying to tear it all down. Was he just trying to hurt her, or was something darker behind this betrayal? Desperate for answers, Rasheeda had spent days trying to reach him outside Mendy's house, but Joc remained distant, unreachable, like everyone else caught in this storm. She couldn't fully blame him. He must be just as confused and wounded, but she couldn't avoid the conversation any longer. Her hands trembling, Rasheeda rang the doorbell and waited. Moments later, the door opened to reveal Mendeecees looking as exhausted as she felt, his eyes heavy with weariness. "Rasheeda," he said softly, his voice cautious. He didn't seem surprised to see her, but the tension hanging between them was thick. "Despite everything, we need to talk." He stepped aside to let her in, and they sat down in the living room. The silence between them was heavy, almost suffocating, and Rasheeda wasn't sure how to begin. Finally, she broke it. "I need to know what's really going on." Mendeecees ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. "I don't know, Rasheeda. I've been trying to figure it out too. I've never seen Joc like this before. Why would he say something so crazy? Why lie?" Leaning forward, his voice grew firmer. "There's more going on with him than just you and me. He's been acting strange. For a while, maybe jealous, maybe stirring trouble. Whatever it is, it's messing with his head." Rasheeda's heart tightened. "Jealous of what?" Mendeecees shook his head. "I don't know, but he's been spreading lies, trying to turn people against us, making it seem like there's something between us. You and I both know that's not true." She nodded slowly, relief mixed with sorrow. She knew the truth. Their relationship was built on friendship and respect. But Joc wasn't interested in truth. He wanted to destroy her and everything she'd built. No matter what she said or did, it felt like it was already too late. "I don't know how to fix this," Mendeecees admitted, voice cracking. "I've spent my whole life building a reputation, and it's all unraveling because of one lie." "We'll figure it out," Mendeecees assured her, placing a steady hand on hers. "You're not alone. I'm not going anywhere. We'll face Joc and everything else together." Just then, her phone buzzed. A news alert flashed across the screen. "Yung Joc accuses Rasheeda of affair with Mendeecees. Police investigating." Rasheeda's heart sank. The situation had spiraled from a whispered accusation to a public scandal. Mendeecees saw the change in her face and leaned in, concerned. "What is it? What's wrong? Show me." As Rasheeda showed Mendeecees the news alert, he muttered, "This is crazy. We need to stop this before it gets any worse." She stared at the screen, the weight of the situation pressing down on her. How had it come this far? How had Joc managed to turn her life into a public spectacle? More importantly, what was his endgame? Was he trying to ruin her? Was he trying to destroy everything she had built? Before she could voice her fears, Mendeecees cut in, his voice tense. "The police are involved now. Joc has taken this to a whole new level." Rasheeda nodded slowly, the enormity sinking in. "But how do we fight back against a lie that's already gone viral?" Mendeecees' determination sharpened. "We go to the media. We tell our side of the story. We don't let Joc dictate how this ends. You deserve better than this." The idea of going public terrified her, but Mendeecees was right. The longer they let the rumors swirl, the more the lie would become the truth in the eyes of the world. Taking a deep breath, Rasheeda felt a cold dread settle in her stomach. She wasn't sure how to respond to someone willing to destroy everything for the sake of a lie. She didn't know how much more she could take, but one thing was clear. She wasn't going down without a fight. The drama was far from over. As the pieces continued to fall into place, the truth would eventually come to light. This was just the beginning of a series of events no one could have foreseen. Rasheeda's reputation, her family, everything she had worked for. It was all at stake, and the battle for the truth was just getting started. Will Yung Joc get away with spreading lies, or will Rasheeda and Mendeecees' efforts be enough to stop the damage? Share your thoughts in the comments below. How would you handle this situation if you were in Rasheeda's shoes? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on this explosive story. The truth is unfolding, and we'll be here to bring you every twist and turn.